off on University yet again.
Yep. We'll see the speed boost out the gate into the Pharah Hanzo and Pharah McCree. With Climax on the McCree, you have to give an edge to O2 Ardeont. You have to think he's going to hit the shots. There's a lot more burst potential for McCree, but he has to be protected.
Well, for now, though, the Pharah is going to be laying down some decent damage. You can see the 35% there, reflecting that. As the res will come out from Fuse, but Climax was able to finally find that shot. But Atune looking to open things up a little bit more here with the hit onto Violet. Rain burning out his res now, so either Mercy going to have that ability on cooldown as Yaki takes a couple shots yet again. Ivy starts surpassing him for that barrage charge. Lots of shots going down onto Yakpung. MVP space, take a step away from the point for a moment. No 2 Ardeont is able to scoop up that cap. Now they follow through. Over on Bianca and Fuse all going down. MVP going to have to recollect themselves.
You could see the difference between the McCree and the Hanzo. We talked about this, in fact, in the GC Busan MVP Space Series. When you have a Hanzo, you can burst tanks, but you don't have the ability to deal with the Pharah, whereas McCree gives you the ability to burst tanks, albeit a little bit less quickly, but more consistently with a larger clip, right? Storm arrows only limited to a temporary moment where you only have 2 shots, but you can also deal with the Pharah more consistently than a Hanzo can, and that's what we saw there, forcing the res.
Oh, nice snipe there from Ivy. Lands the rocket, now drops in looking for the barrage, takes down Oberon and Bianca. He'll fall, but the damage is done. O2 Ardeont going to just maintain control here and even get a nice little extra stagger onto Fuse. Rin brings Ivy back in, no need to wait.
The most important thing now is that O2 Ardeont has a Transcendence, and MVP Space has ult advantage. If the Transcendence is used correctly, it can shut down multiple ultimates of MVP Space. So MVP Space wanted to approach this, force the Transcendence out with 1 ultimate, then use the rest of theirs. They don't have the grab surge, importantly, as well. That's something Humbaba is holding.
They can build that pretty quickly here. Humbaba's already going to go ahead and toss his. Locks up a few members, but the Rhine Shield is there to block, so honestly O2 not getting much for that. The Deadeye from Climax isn't going to find a whole lot, but the follow-up shots will take down Oberon. Yaki goes forward, barrage on a Humbaba, takes him down, and Yakpung's dead, so now O2 Ardeont's going to be without a tank line, which forces Violet into this Transcendence to escort Rain in for the res. Manages to find that, Fuse manages to find Yaki, but Ivy follows up with a kill onto Atune, so the DPS members of MVP Space still going to be dropping. Undying going to go down with that Transcendence available, just wants to hold it for this last-ditch effort here as they get ready to push in for one final fight.
And as you can see, the range of McCree just continues to be the big story here. On University, the McCree teams versus the Hanzo teams have the higher win rate right now. They have the more success rate. They're going to try to use Transcendence to force their way out of the point. There's the charge. They might get on it, but...
Dragon Strike coming through, but it's not going to be with a Wombo combo here, looking for the grab alongside it. They don't get in a position to throw that one down. Now they toss it, but this is just desperation here from MVP Space, who look like they're still waking up.
Yeah, they definitely had some... you know, the coach said just moments ago, they feel like they don't understand the current meta. But I think that's not true, actually. But what I do think is, on University exclusively, because the Pharah is so prevalent with the Zarya and the Reinhardt, you need your hit scan, you know, obviously Hanzo's, you need a hit scan because, like McCree, to have the ability to burst down tanks with the Discord Orbs, but also can burst down a Pharah. As we saw, the Pharah was getting, as she barraged, even the bubble from Zarya, but just couldn't even finish the barrage before it was blown up by Climax. In that small of an area, you can use the McCree to great success versus the Pharah and the tanks. The Hanzo's great at dealing with the tanks, even better than McCree temporarily with the Storm Arrow. They just cannot deal with Ivy's Pharah. And it's exclusive to University. The Hanzo's a good idea on other maps and helps you deal with the tanks, but in this case, you know, I feel like O2 Ardeont does understand better, and they have the better McCree player, how to win that fight.
Well, Atune over onto the Widowmaker. Going to be finding that first initial hit in onto Rain. Points unlocking right about now, so could lead to MVP Space actually getting some percentage in. So we'll go ahead and grab this initial cap. O2 Ardeont have to step to them.
Yeah, and there's Atune who controls line of sight at the moment. Peeks around here, sees no one knows where he is positioned, so wants to wait for a Mercy shot potentially.
Well, Yakpung, right place, right time, going to be body blocking that hit that was intended for Rain. As Yaki keeps going for some shots in, but Climax is on the backside. He's got a Pharah in the front. Nowhere really to go. He'll go down, but Climax will get taken out by Oberon at the same time as O2 Ardeont tries to push in onto the point. Humbaba playing forward at the moment. As going to be coming through here as MVP Space goes up over 30%. Dive into the back. Yakpung looking for Atune, manages to take him down. Violet under fire, but not going to fall, and now has that Transcendence available and even takes down Oberon. at the same time, which means that O2 Ardeont should be able to grind this out for a flip just before MVP Space can reach 50%, though they're still fighting this one through.
Yeah.
They're trying their damnedest. Bianca here, Defense Matrix mitigating a lot of the damage. You can see Fuse not really going to be able to make it out of there, just gets tagged on the exit. Bianca going to get booped off, the flip will come through eventually. As we see more delay tactics, MVP just trying to accrue as much as they possibly can.
Yaki will make the switch to the Tracer here as well. They're losing out the Widow matchup, not because Climax is hitting the headshots in a 1v1 Widow situation, but O2 Ardeont is communicating better. They're identifying when the tanks are not protecting Attune and collapsing in. We've seen this happen twice already. Oh man, Yaki's found by the Pharah here, does avoid the shots. But I like the idea to switch to the Tracer here because it makes it easier for you to get onto the enemy Widow on their backline as you approach. You already have an advantage in control meter, so you need to make sure that that stays that way by diving deeper with the Tracer, doing more consistent damage than the Pharah can allow.
Oh, well, up and over the top, that's going to be the self-destruct in from Humbaba. Manages to find Fuse, actually, taking him down. Attune in such a rough spot. One more rocket, there it is. Ivy finding the kill. 2 members dead on the side of MVP Space, and O2 Ardeont can go ahead and keep pushing up the percentage.
Just controlling this area here is Ivy yet again with this Pharah. High up in the sky, finds an angle to just take pot shots, sees Attune just barely out of the corner of his eye there. Isn't going to put himself in a place where he would be killed, but just going to take some extra damage. MVP Space almost looks like they've conceded the point. I mean, they're not even making an approach right now. It's so difficult to do so. Perhaps they were hoping Ivy would make a mistake. Yaki sneaks around here to try to find Climax, but Climax already knows where he is. His communication is so good.
He's hunting him down. Yaki coming around the back side. The Zenyatta ready to duel Violet. We were already talking about this at the start of the broadcast. Very aggressive. One of the best Zens that we have here in this tournament. As MVP piles in onto the point. O2 Ardeont not giving up any ground yet here. As Ivy maybe just looking for an opportunity to drop in that barrage. Pushing forward, pops the bubble. Undying dead. Looks like he might have been playing in traffic. Not quite sure what happened, but now it's going to be the close range Widow duel. But Violet comes in to make it a 2v1 and helps take down Attune. Barrage coming down. Defense Matrix going to mitigate a bit of that damage as they nearly pop Bianca out of the mech. Will be able to do so now. They'll just go ahead, dumps it down, looking for the remech, but Yakpung makes sure that that does not happen. And overtime ticking away. MVP barely tagging in as Yaki dashes through, but has to recall out. Wraps back around the backside.
Okay, they get Oberon, and this is not looking good for MVP Space. They're trying to force this Tracer to get the value here.
No, it does not. Yeah, the pulse bomb going to come through from Yaki. Doesn't find much, and Ivy is still just taking these rocket shots. Helps take him down. Violet coming up with the kill. OT plummets, and O2 Ardeont will just go ahead and take Oasis with a 2-0.
You know, when you watch the dive onto the Widows, we saw several times O2 Ardeont was able to come up big and get the kills. They have better spatial awareness of where everyone is on the map, as well as the communication is clearly more on point. And every single time we saw Yaki's first-person view on the Tracer, where he was trying to find the kills on the Climax or Violet, notice that none of them were ever alone. It was never a moment where Yaki found a Zenyatta solo, found a Mercy solo, or found a Widowmaker solo. The tanks only went in when they were sure they could get a kill, or maybe a body shot was given first onto Attune. Then they collapsed in when Attune was alone, got the kills, and then returned. But otherwise, they did not use their movement abilities, did not use their jump, they did not use their boost on the D.Va and the Winston until they were certain, because otherwise they needed to be there to peel to make sure that when Yaki came back to try to get those kills, he would be shut down. And he just was every time. Like, he was trying his best to do backline picks, and then when that wasn't working, he was just trying to fight, you know, against the tanks straight up. But he was getting outclassed because the Pharah he couldn't deal with, and the Widow didn't have line of sight on Ivy. So they were just kind of really having a bad time, even with the Tracer swap.
Yeah, I actually wasn't really a big fan of that because there was already so much pressure onto Attune that no one could deal with the Pharah. Ivy was just completely unhindered. The Tracer obviously not going to be doing much unless you can go jump pad, triple dash over, put the pulse bomb stick in, and even then there's probably going to be a res coming through from the Mercy at the same time. So not really the best swap.
If you can get the kills or help win the tank war, then it works out, but he did neither because the coordination and the defensive setup was so good for O2 Ardeont. They identified, as you did, look, they can't kill our Pharah. Ivy, just keep doing as much damage as possible. We'll never win the straight up like 4v4 with the two tanks and supports against each other. you know, if the Pharah is doing extra damage to the tanks before they even get there. So
I think that, honestly, something that might have worked out a little bit better was trying to put a tune onto the McCree and try to go for a bit of a protect the McCree comp. Can go ahead, deal with the Pharmacy comp, and then just deny line of sight from the Widowmaker. Just make sure that Climax does not have any views of you, and then you don't have to worry about getting those headshots laid down. I think that that might have worked out a little bit better, but either way, O2 Ardeont showing why they were our runners-up in Season 1 and MVP, why they were a bit of a struggling team historically.
And that's what's that's somewhat puzzling, you know, because we did see that's a great Bianca.
That was an overnighter. That was not done this morning.
Yeah, it's laminated.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just to close the slot, it's more puzzling because Attune is such a fantastic McCree player as well. It's not a hero pool problem or anything like that. But yeah, we're going to take a look at some of our fan signs here as we probably have a substitution. Says Tracer statue. Oh, it's the Deliverer.
Oh man, we actually have.
It says deliver it to me. It says deliver it to me.
Of the Deliverer now. That's great.
It says deliver it here.
And he's still wearing the yellow iconic shirt.
I can see him over there.
I can see him right now. He's laughing his ass off over this. That's great.
Oh my God.
We told him that fans know about him as the Deliverer. And he was like, no, there's no way. And we're like, yeah, absolutely. People know you now.
That's a fan sign for Jisoo.
When can we get an interview with him? Can we stop talking to the coaches?
Yeah.
Can we just have an interview with the Deliverer?
Yeah, I think that's what we need to do. Ivy fighting, it says. It says, oh, I can't even believe it. Ivy's so cool.
Well, you know, his Pharah.
It says the best Junkrat in the world. And of course,
bold.
It's you, Ivy.
That's bold. We all know that Jake is the best Junkrat in the world.
Ardeont fighting. I'll need to read those names for you. It says, let's go to the Season 2 victory, I guess. Go to the finals and win the finals. That's what the bottom part says. Oh, I don't know about that bottom sign. Raise it a little bit higher.
Yeah. It's just going to be like another excellent piece
of
artwork.
I love this guy. He just calmly holds it while they talk about his sign. He's like, yeah, this is me.
His like eyes are glistening like some anime eyes he's got going on there.
Well, we may have a substitution. I'm not sure as we head into hybrid.
They haven't gotten any pop-ups here on the screen, and sounds like sounds like we're not going to have any. So Eichenwald actually for the first time here in Season 2.
An old MVP space favorite.
Yeah, so going to be locking this one in to go up against O2 Ardeont. We'll see how practiced they are, but maybe we can see that infamous Junkrat coming out on this defense.
We saw so much McCree and McCree Junkrat on point A at the end of Season 1 of Contenders here. It became the standard. It was really pioneered by Stitch, of all players. He was the one who was doing it most successfully. Then Climax started doing it later on. So it's a map where if Attune is still moving away from the McCree, I do worry for them on defense, and they're going to have the understanding of how to break it on attack, because I think there's a really high chance it's either Widow Pharah or the Pharah McCree on defense of point A. Let's see how it all pans out. It's our first Eichenwald of the season. We're going to learn a lot here.
Now we'll see how prepared they are for this one. MVP trying to throw a bit of a curveball. So everyone just takes a hop off the castle one after the other.
Ivy's doing his tribute to One Fact here.
Always goes in for the dance. Bastion does have probably one of the best dances.
He definitely does. All
right.
And
now he's dead.
Just showing some respect to the ex-MVP space One Fact before we move forward. I do it every now and then, you know, in my solo queue games as well. I tell people in my voice chat for One Fact and then jump off. Yeah.
They have no idea what you're talking about.
Nah, they watch the pro scene. They know. You see how many viewers that Creed Stream has when everybody's watching. All right, so Climax is going to be on the Widow here. Attune will go for the tank-busting Hanzo to start things off. It's going to be Pharah, obviously. Yaki got quite famous for his Pharah on attack of Eichenwald, where it wasn't really meta, and he started bringing it back. And we saw players like Rascal play this back in Apex as well on this map, but kind of an iconic one for Yaki more than it is for Ivy. But he's getting outclassed.
Yeah, Yaki getting ripped apart there. Final Rocket not going to find the connection, but Ivy already layering in so much harass. Over 60%. Yaki's not even, he just broke 10%. Somebody calm Ivy down. This man is just unstoppable.
Yeah, he's 60% ahead at the moment. They're diving in deep onto this point, but Ivy is untouched, and he is doing consistent projectile
He's almost
damage.
got a barrage ready to go. Oberon, dangerously low, leaping over to the side. Direct hit in onto a tune, but while Ivy was dealing with that, Yaki manages to take him down, but Climax is here for the follow-up. And MVP Space going to be held at bay here as Undyne falls.
He makes the switch to the McCree finally here. Hunter just cannot consistently deal with the Pharah. And not to say that it's impossible. In fact, like, I'd even go as far as to say it's somewhat of a soft counter because you can with Storm Arrows, if you're in range, deal with it. But with everything else that's going on at this high level, you're actually going to be taking so much damage yourself to the Pharah. By the time you get close, the tanks could dive you, or you're just going to be straight up killed by the Pharah itself. The McCree gives you a lot more range and the ability to do further bursts. You don't have to rely on the Storm Arrow. You just left-click the Pharah down.
Yeah. Well, here we go. Transcendence in onto the point from Undyne. They dive in, find Climax. So one pick coming through. Rain at the moment. Feel like he might be moving over to try to get the res off, and does manage to do so. And Yaki actually does outtrade Ivy. So now there's no res, no barrage in this fight. They go back in. They take down Climax yet again. In the meantime, Humbaba does manage to finish off Bianca. Yaki pops his own barrage. Manages to find the knockout there onto Humbaba's mech. Self-destruct comes through. Manages to take down the enemy Zenyatta, but MVP Space still going to be looking to take this point. Knockpum popping the Primal Rage, goes forward. Getting the smacks in, but can't really do anything against Yaki, who just keeps layering down these rockets. The smack off coming through. Leap back in, but right above him, rocket comes down. Yakpung dies, and MVP Space have finally capped A, it would seem.
Yep, Toon makes the switch to Widow here now, as well as they knew that this was going to be a capped point. He's able to build 80% of the Infrasight here, as Climax takes Yaki out of the sky. That's going to be a forced res, you have to imagine, yep. But this is a situation where it's a Widow matchup now, and this is what we saw Toon versus Edison in. Not this map, of course, but that matchup really defined how the series went. And let's see if Toon can outperform Climax here, because that would be, in his first return back to Korean Overwatch, a fantastic thing to be able to say he could do. Win or lose this series, winning the matchup in the Widow War is definitely a good thing for your career.
Always a good look. Rain taking that shot. Yaki lining it up nicely. Rain not really paying attention to the skies. Those get taken down. There's no rest of the Mercy, obviously. MVP Space answer back with a couple kills here coming out of Climax and Ivy, but Ivy will go down as Toon finds the snipe, so MVP can keep moving forward through the streets phase here, rather unhindered at the moment.
Yeah, Toon is doing massive amounts of damage here as he's given so much space by Yaki. Ivy and Yaki going to switch to the Tracers now to help assist in terms of the dive.
Oh, nice shot coming through from the Toon. Very small window to get that hit off. Already wrapping around, getting ready to start crossing the bridge is MVP Space. Jump up onto the high ground there from Oberon, but he's shredded down. You can see the Discord Orb and the Focus Fire onto the Winston doing so much work. Climax has a nice flank angle, but needs to get the hits in, and honestly, he's going to be denied because Undyne pops that Transcendence.
Yeah, Fuse also pulling out the Valkyrie at the same time, and they still lose a Toon, so huge wins here on the defense for O2 Ardeont right now.
Self-destruct, not going to be finding much here. Climax under fire. Pops himself down, helps burn through Bianca, getting rid of that Pilot Diva. In the meantime, Ivy, having that nice high angle, sprays down Fuse, takes him out, and MVP Space will be halted just at the bridge. And this could be a very difficult retake here for MVP.
I think Ivy is the player that Guard aspires to be after they've lost Sparkle. I mean, he was a Genji Junkrat only. Now he's popping off of the Pharah, the Tracer, the Brigida. He's actually able to flex so suddenly into so many different roles he never played before, and that's very impressive.
Coming through there, Yaki looking for the spray down, gets a lot of damage into the Yakpung. He still has the Primal Rage ready to go and might be popping it here with the deep dive, but no, doesn't get the opportunity. The headshots coming through from the Tracer just rip him to shreds. Rain also dead now. Humbaba, no tanks available here for O2, just going to be the Tracer as the DPS. Seems like MVP Space might have found themselves a point B cap.
That they do. He's able to win out the longer fight here. Ivy untouched still, but alone there's only so much he can do.
Yeah, they got one tag in. Force Res coming in through onto Violet and Ivy, way too deep now. Still has that pulse bomb ready to go, but 2 minutes 40 on the clock as they knock down the castle gates. MVP Space still pushing forward. So far, the Eichenwald pick working out rather well for them.
Yeah, their positioning is just way better than what we saw in Oasis, meaning that Toon is better protected. They're staying together closer onto the cart. Ivy's going to make the switch to Junkrat here. Yaki There was a pick there on the Violet. It's actually a huge opening. This could actually lead to a very fast capture here.
Yeah, they take him down. It's going to be Humbaba out of the mech. The res being used here on the Violets, and now have to wait for that Demon to come back up where the self-destruct is almost available, and they're going to need that to buy some space because you can see MVP, they are so far forward. They are just playing right up in front of the spawn rooms as both healers are still dead.
Yep, that's going to be it. It looks like, man, they don't even have anything that they can do besides the tanks coming in alone.
Yeah,
no support.
Humbaba going to get knocked out. Right side self-destruct becomes available. Manages to toss it out. Can he make it back in? The answer's going to be yes, but the Transcendence is there, so Undyne not going to get popped. Ivy manages to find one kill with a satchel charge. In on the Yaki. Climax dead. Violet going down. Rain in the skies with a Valkyrie. He tries to buy some time, tries to keep Yakfeng alive. Primal Rage out from Overwatch, just trying to smack them off the point nose. But they can go ahead and push this one through rather easily. Double satchel charge killed, but it's going to be a triple coming through from Bianca as he gets Rain, Ivy, and Humbaba out of the back. Overwatch able to get the finish. Yakfeng just playing forward. The Winston's dueling out, zapping each other. But while they're distracted, Overwatch will get sniped out by Climax from the side. Violet has the Transcendence built up in this time, manages to pop it, and O2 Ardeont actually managed to hold up MVP space for a bit longer.
They actually out-sustained them there. They had better healing, obviously, with Fuse dying early. He ran back with the Lucio. He's probably going to switch again to the Mercy because res is so important when you're trying to push this all the way through. Although, as I say that, they are going to switch to a triple tank to protect the McCree. In fact, Undyne switches over to the Moira as well. Ardeont expects this. We'll be making similar swaps to the Zarya Reinhardt. So good calls here by O2 Ardeont. They already have the Junkrat, so breaking this is going to be tough. But if Attune can build a Deadeye, he has this extra amazing flank he can use. It's so tough to deal with. But they've only got 30 seconds, so time is not on their side.
Yeah, this started off rather well for them on the final push bit. O2 Ardeont with that miracle hold. Finds himself some very crucial time as Violet under fire, goes dangerously low.
Here's the flank.
Safe for the moment. Attune wrapping around from the side. Yaki just spamming away with the right clicks. Trying to build up for this Graviton surge. Both these Zaryas going to be pretty neck and neck as far as the ult charge is considered. 40% on the energy, not going to be having that much damage output yet. Pin coming through, they find the stun in onto Oberon. Can they take him down though? A couple more swings there from Yakfeng. Manages to find the kill. Satchel charge in, Riptire ready to go. Ivy could go ahead and shut down this entire push right now. The Lucio, so close, Fuse was trying to kill him, but he just sends himself to his own death. 4 meters away, but the kills are spilling through here for O2 Ardeont, and I think they might have just shut them down. MVP space, tried for the swap. They get so damn close, but they cannot put it over the finish line. O2 Ardeont come up with a hold.
Huge, huge comfort, though, you could feel from MVP space on this map. It feels like a map they were born to play, and the positioning through the streets phase, the drawbridge, and the castle, their positioning on the drawbridge was much more condensed, and probably as it should have been on City Center, on Oasis. That would have made it a lot easier for them to protect against the counter dives that were coming through. And what we saw when we were in the castle is they controlled the high ground, Attune got into a better position, and Yaki was the better Pharah. Not per se on Oasis, but on Eichenwald. He just felt so comfortable there. It's a map that he made a name for himself on the Pharah. And as we come back to it many, many seasons later, he still has that game sense for it. They still get halted, as you say. Creative hero swaps there at the end to try to finish it out with a good time bank with a sustainable comp, the Lucio Zarya and the McCree they were hoping to flank and get a Deadeye with. But O2 Ardeont had their number, and they do defend. But this is still very much a winnable map for MVP, especially when you consider that their attack, the strength of their attack was from point A to B, and the A attack itself, meaning that on defense, they could eat a lot of time and or full hold here if they're able to repeat that level of performance.
Yeah. And, I mean, a really, really great hold, but honestly becoming less and less surprising from the likes of O2 Ardeont as time goes on. I think right now, probably the best delay team that we have in this tournament.
Yeah, there's a good argument for that.
They already showed us that on Temple of Anubis. You think back, losing point A, but when it comes down to point B, able to hold it all the way into overtime, if not complete the hold in OT. You know, with a time bank starting around 6 minutes, these guys, the delay that they can put out is just absolutely incredible.
This is the Silver to test the just to test the comp. He tossed the translocator in.
Got popped out of that stealth though.
Yep, gonna just be switching back. Well, Yaki Attune, standard defense here. It's gonna be the mirror matchup on the attack, as was scouted already. Let's see if Ivy can outclass Yaki this time, because that was the big story on point A previously.
Shots coming down there. Bianca and Oberon both getting chewed up. As yet again, Ivy going to be leaning an ult charge, looking for the barrage, dropping in, looking for the hits in onto a tomb, takes him low, can't finish him off, and now has to go ahead and kite back. Using that concussive blast to try to take himself out to safety. He'll be fine for the moment. Yakpung going forward, finds a tune, and Oberon will die. With only Yakpung being traded out. Yaki dead as Climax snipes him out of the sky. Ivy trying to keep himself alive. Will manage to go ahead and kite his way out to safety. Now looking for the wraparound. There's no health pack here, but he's got a lonely Mercy. And with the help of Bob with that final melee swing, they will take him down, and this is going to be a massive time bank here for O2 Ardeont as they get ready to go into the streets phase, winning that first initial push.
Something I've noticed about Ivy's Pharah is he trusts Climax to deal with Yaki, and sometimes that works out, sometimes that doesn't, but the key thing I'm pointing out here is he actually goes for the tanks more often than not. So his tanks win the tank, 2v2 when they clash on the point because he's already chipped them out. Whereas Yaki's more concerned about killing Ivy. He's more concerned about killing the Pharah or killing the Widow. So the tanks are losing for MVP space because the targeting of the tank for the targeting of the Pharah for Yaki is more DPS oriented, and if he gets the kills, that gets him a lot of value. But if he doesn't, then the tanks always lose, and that was why they lost that first point. So just a different priority in terms of Pharah style.
Well, Attune getting jumped on here, and he'll just pop back up. Undyne showing up, has that Transcendence ready to go, but Ivy's into the backside, looking for the pick-off. In the meantime, Yaki gonna get taken down by Violet.
Ivy wants this. I think he might get it. Not quite.
Ivy dashing forward, looking for...
Excuse me, Mercy.
There on the fuse, but not going to be able to get him. But the tanks have been killed on the side of MVP space. They managed to find Violet, but Attune going to go down as well as Ivy. Climax playing forward, just kind of keeping them gated back towards the spawn. 4 minutes remaining, and O2 Ardeont still making good time here with the card.
Yep, it's just going to be Climax solo riding it. Rain going to come over here to boost him and get the second as the tanks drop back down. And they have full line of sight advantage, even the right click from Violet flying into that doorway. Tough for MVP space to spill out. Yaki knows that they're going to come out this way. He looks for the backline pick.
Yeah, deep dive, but didn't really have the one clip at all. The accuracy wasn't quite there. Undyne going low, Transcendence used from Violet as they try to push forward. And Climax, he's on the other side of the bridge. He's on the enemy side of the bridge and is still going to be coming up with the kills as Yaki and Oberon both go down at his hand. Self-destruct out from Humbaba, not going to find a pick, but he'll make it back into the map in the MVP space and just getting picked apart. Very delayed team wipes coming through essentially here.
This is such a great time bank for
everybody else dies.
Yeah.
And yeah, 4:41 on the clock. It was 0.8 meters away, I believe, for MVP space, so O2 Ardeont basically has to go to the distance. But with this time bank, with what they've been showing us already in these first 2 maps, in their first series of the season, highly expected to go ahead and complete this and go up 2-0 in the series.
Look at the swap here to the Hanzo. They're trying to counteract the tanks with this Brigida Hanzo because they're losing the tank war every time, and that's mostly because of poor targeting. You could say that targeting the DPS is a good idea. In some ways it is, but you lose the tank battle if you don't get the actual kill. If you hurt the DPS, it doesn't matter. But if you hurt a tank, you're going to lose the tanks because the enemy tanks are going to trade up on you. So now the Hanzo can burst the tanks, they have the Brigida to stun, and they're going to play very far up here. This is a big risk, and Humbaba already countering this with his own Zarya, and they bring the Junkrat in here, so not a surprise for MVP space.
Oh, something stuck through. Rain getting stuck on the wall. I think he was trying to go over the top, but he will go down. In the meantime, Oberon pushing up, doesn't have the shield raised, and will just get his head taken off. And O2, that'll give them a bit of an opening to go ahead and start pushing back into the castle. Rez in onto Yaki. Fuse, making sure that he is still in the fight, but MVP do have to kite back around the final corner now.
They don't have a good answer for the Junkrat, because again, with this shield up, Hanzo can't really kill a Junkrat. He can help trade up against the tanks when the shield is down. He can hit Yakpung, he can hit Humbaba, but he's going to have a bigger problem killing Ivy, who's got a great angle with this Junkrat to push through these tanks.
This is when you, sorry, not to cut you off, but this is when you really wish that you had that scatter arrow still just to randomly get the headshot. Dragon Strike going to be tossed in, but Violet has that Transcendence ready to go. Undyne going to be dueling him in onto the point. Tire out, Ivy finds Fuse, taking him down.
This is almost a surge,
big energy,
too.
almost 100% here for the side of Humbaba. It is just going to start shredding people. Bianca getting ripped to pieces here.
Here's the
Graviton
Graviton,
shots,
it's
not
ready.
going to connect and take him out of the mech. finally will go down, actually, as Climax follows up with the kill. Gets the Baby Diva as well, res in onto Ivy now. All 6 members up, Graviton Surge in, and they just melt Yaki down.
They knew that Diva was demeched, so they could just toss it in, no fear, no worries. And look at this, he tosses out the Earth Shatter alone here, but he's already taken half of his hit points in damage, being healed up right now.
And he only found Humbaba, wasn't able to take him out. Attune jumping forward, looking to try to trade something back, but Climax is there, he's got the headshot ready to go, eliminating that enemy Hanzo. Ivy will get jumped on, will go down, but over on Ayaki, both fall. MVP Space losing out on their tank line. Bianca tosses the mech, but can't make it back in because Humbaba is there to rip her to shreds. And Rain will at least go down, but Violet has another Transcendence ready to go, so they can just keep the fight going. Ivy just taking them out. Grenade to grenade, yeah. One after the other, landing those hits, even at point-blank range, coming up with that, and that is just going to be O2 Ardeont moving up 2-0 here in the series as they complete Eichenwald. MVP Space looking more competitive with that map pick. But yeah, even then, still just getting outclassed. Didn't really have an answer for the Junkrat, as you were saying.
I think, you know, there's some things that we learn subtly as we get more and more accustomed to this new meta, and it's not a rigid meta, as you were saying the other day. It's a very fluid meta. There's a lot of different things you can run and things you can do, but I feel like O2 has got a good grasp on it. They were able to accurately predict both times that MVP Space switched to Lazaria triple tank composition. Before MVP Space even showed it, they had the counter ready, and on that last attack, it was the most impressive where they had Ivy switch over the Junkrat. And the one thing that, you know, stood out to me again, and I'll say it one more time, is Yaki's targeting on the Pharah. I think it's very reminiscent of a non-Mercy meta, where, you know, the Pharah that you're winning in the Pharah versus Pharah, there's a Mercy to heal that, but otherwise the other DPS on the ground don't really have a Mercy on them because no one really knew how to play Mercy back then. Mercy was different, didn't have res, etc. And what we're seeing, I think, is an older Pharah style where it's like kill the DPSs, then our tanks can be free and we'll just collapse on their tanks. Whereas it's a safer style from Ivor, where he's just hitting the tanks and then telling his teammates, yo, Winston's low, and then your Winston, your Diva collapse on theirs. They either have to run away, which means they're out of the fight and irrelevant, or they die. And, you know, I think that's the difference in Pharah style. And while Yaki's style can be effective, you just have to be able to consistently get the actual kills rather than damage, because the enemy Mercy is just going to be flying around healing all the DPSs that get hurt, and they're already on the Pharah themselves. So if you're trading against the Pharah, you're building charge, but not as much as the enemy Pharah is hitting tanks consistently, and you're not killing the Pharah. If you don't kill the Pharah, what's the point? Because the Pharah's already got the Mercy on top of it.
I mean, I think like maybe Silent MVP as well coming through. Eichenwald specifically is Violet with the Zenyatta. The Zenyatta play so far great. He's been building up these Transcendences extremely rapidly and overall been keeping himself pretty safe, as well as just winning some of those 1v1 Zenyatta battles. We'll go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights here from the first 2 maps. O2 Ardeont already going to be up 2-0. Rather, almost said 0-2. That would have been bad for them. That would have been a very bad look.
It was like that earlier. This is the difference, right? He's trying to find the backline, or he's trying to find the damage heroes. You know, end up getting Rain in that case. This ended up being amazing.
Poor decision from Fuse to try to push up into the face of the Junkrat.
I think he just assumed that his opponent wasn't aware, but that was obviously not true, as we know.
I think he was unaware that there was a Riptire coming out. He thought that the Junkrat was just kiting. I think he was going to try to wrap around and maybe boop him out onto the point so they could get rid of him.
I think he was hoping the Junkrat was going to just be so focused on the Riptire at a different angle that he would at least be able to trade up, get the headshots there onto the immobile Junkrat. I don't know, man.
Can't tell you. Either way, there's a lot of questions about what happened there in that series, but we're halfway through it, guys. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll see if O2 just closes us out with another 4-0.